All right, quick tip if you're living in the Philippines or planning to move here, if you're used to Western communication style, one thing will confuse you very quickly is that Filipinos rarely say no. I mean, not directly. And if you don't understand this early, you're going to misunderstand a lot of situations. You'll think people are lying to you. You think people are unreliable. You will think people are wasting your time. But most of the time, that's not actually what's happening. It's cultural. Filipinos generally avoid direct confrontation. So saying a hard no to someone can feel rude. It can feel disrespectful. At least that is how we feel about it. It can feel like embarrassing, especially if the person asking is older, a guest, or someone they want to keep a good relationship with. I know it doesn't make sense, but it's like that. So instead of saying no, people soften it. You'll hear things like maybe or I'll try, later, or let's see, or okay, 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 okay. And if you're new here, you'll hear that and think, oh, nice, they agreed. That's easy. But no, it's not like that. A lot of the time, that actually means no. It just means no in a polite Filipino way. And this is where foreigners start getting frustrated or confused. They think someone promised something and didn't follow through. But what actually happened is the person was trying to avoid offending you or avoid rejecting you. Because in Filipino culture, maintaining harmony is more important than being brutally direct, even if being brutally direct means um, being honest, right? Sometimes if you say yes just to make someone feel better, that is being not genuine. I know. Western culture is very different. In many Western countries, being direct is considered respectful and being honest and being, I don't know, maybe genuine. So you say what you mean. You say yes or no, like directly. Here, being too direct can actually come across as aggressive. So people tend to soften everything. Even criticisms, even disagreements, even rejection. So now, here's the controversial part. Sometimes this cultural habit also creates problems, especially to people like you who has the opposite culture of this thing. Because when nobody wants to say no directly, things can become vague. Plans become unclear. People wait for things that were never actually going to happen. Or people believe what was being said and believe it is true. And that's why a lot of you guys think Filipinos are indirect or passive. But once you understand the reason behind it, it actually, starts to make sense, even though it still doesn't make sense. The goal is not to mislead you, even if it feels like it. That's never the intention, okay? That's never the intention. The goal is to avoid embarrassment or conflict, even though if you think about it, it could actually cause more conflict. It's just another kind of like saving face. So the saving face is the umbrella term. And there are so many different styles or scenarios to saving face, and this is just one. It happens everywhere at work, with friends, with neighbors, even in government offices. Sometimes people will tell you something just to avoid saying no in that moment. And you'll only realize later that it wasn't really a yes. So, what's the smart way to deal with this? It's simple. Don't just listen to the words, listen to the tone. If someone says, yeah, I'll try, that usually means don't expect it. If someone says, yeah, yeah, maybe later, that often means it's not going to happen. If someone says, we'll see, yeah, we'll see, we will see, that usually means probably no. So once you understand this pattern, life becomes much, much easier for you here. You stop taking things personally. You stop expecting Western style direct answers. And you learn how communication actually works here. Sometimes I find it very annoying how easily people say yes to everything. So one good example though is it becomes very frustrating when you go on a date. Imagine you invite someone out, you plan everything, you choose the day, maybe the place, they say yes, they sound excited, and you start looking forward to it. You wait a week for that day to come, and then last minute they cancel. Suddenly, they have all kinds of excuses. Something came up, they're busy, they forgot about it, their cousin arrived, their dog is sick. There is always some reason, and you're left there thinking, why say yes in the first place if you were not really planning to come? That's something that can be very, very confusing if you're not used to it. But honestly, this doesn't only happen in dating, but another example, so it happens in dating, but it also happen a lot in when you're dealing with government offices or government officials. So you go there and ask a simple question. They tell you, yes, sir, no problem. Yes, ma'am, no problem. I'll send you the email. So you leave thinking everything is clear. Then you go home, you check your inbox and nothing arrives. You wait one day, you wait 2 days, 1 week, the email never comes. Then you go back to the office again and ask them, and they act like conversation never even happened. Another situation is when you ask for instructions, you ask them what you need to do, then they'll say, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, it's like this. Yes, yes, yes. They tell you what documents to bring, so you follow exactly what they said. You prepare everything and go back the next day. And then suddenly the answer changes. Now they say something different. Now you need another document. Now the process is different. Now the person you talked to yesterday was wrong. So that yes from yesterday was not really a yes. And after experiencing this many times, you start realizing that sometimes, really, people say yes not because the answer is truly yes, but because it's the easiest way, it's the easiest answer at that moment. They don't want to say no, they don't want to disappoint you, they don't they don't want to explain something complicated. They don't want to explain further, especially if it's in English, especially if you're like have a language barrier. So the default answer becomes yes, even if that yes is not really true. So for foreigners, this can be very confusing at first because you guys tend to take words very literally. If someone says yes, then you think it means the plan is confirmed. But in reality, sometimes yes just means maybe, or I'll try, or let's see what happens. And learning that difference takes some time. Another tip, if you want a clear answer, sometimes you need to ask differently. So instead of asking, can you do this tomorrow? Try asking, is tomorrow possible or not? Like give people space to answer honestly without feeling pressured, because sometimes people say yes simply because they don't want to disappoint you in that moment. And honestly, once you adjust to this communication style, it's actually more peaceful. There's less confrontation, less unnecessary arguments in the future, but you do need patience. That's the real skill when living in the Philippines. Patience and understanding the culture. And basically, that's the culture. Because if you expect everyone to communicate the way people do in your country, you'll just end up frustrated. I think we always need to adjust in all the places that we go to. But if you learn how people communicate here, things start making sense. And that's when living here becomes much easier. Anyway, that's today's tip. If you're living in the Philippines or planning to move here, these small cultural things make a huge difference. If you want more real tips about living here, not the romanticized version, but the real version, make sure you're subscribed. All right. I'll see you guys in the next episode.